Having a narcissistic mother is an utterly catastrophic experience for the inner world of a growing and developing child, and in this case, a growing and developing daughter. It's an experience that results to the annihilation of your selfhood, a constant attack to your authenticity, who you were. So much so that safety was never found around this woman unless you were to hide who you were, or you would just play along with her insanity. Because at the end of the day, your actual mother did not raise you. What raised you was her mean and toxic narcissistic self. So that self took on the entire experience of mothering, so much so that you do not know where to find a mother in this woman that acted through and through like a monster, a powerful, yet hurt, thirsty for revenge monster. I have realized that whenever I post things about the narcissistic mother, so many of you resonate. And what I also realize is the experience of having a narcissistic mother may be a very universal experience that many of you share. But have you ever tried sharing it with random people? And did you not get something like, come on, she's your mother, whatever, she's doing the best she can? Yeah, because these people who weren't raised by a narcissistic mother or think their mother was not narcissistic, are in denial about who she was, do not get it. They cannot get it. They just think that you have a mother that can sometimes get a little mean and you don't really see eye to eye. Yeah, that's not what having a narcissistic mother is. So what I've decided to do is create a series for you in which I will take this enormously painful topic that is called a narcissistic mother and break it down to smaller, digestible pieces of content that you can consume slowly and learn more and resonate more about that isolating, yes, yet very universal experience that you've had of being a daughter of a mother who acted like she hated you. Why is the mother wound and generally the narcissistic mother sort of wound so important? Is it because we like to blame women? Is it because everything is our fault? Why? Well, first of all, let's start from the beginning. The mother bond is the first and most important bond a child creates. Arguably, this bond exists even before we are born because we come through her body. So the connection is there, there's familiarity. We know the sounds of her heartbeat and we feel safety with the sound of her voice. That is before we can understand what that voice is telling us or how cruel she can be. But nonetheless, we come into the world already feeling attached to this woman. So when this foundational bond turns into betrayal, it will affect everything, not only in the time that the betrayal is happening, but throughout our life, because it will affect how we perceive the world, how we perceive ourselves, how we feel or not feel safety in our body. Because that vessel, that body, that woman was supposed to be safe. Now, was she obligated to be safe? I don't know. Do you need to be under some sort of legal obligation to be kind to your offspring? You would think that this would be a natural expression of taking care of the child that you birth. But not every woman, first of all, is born and sort of has the mother instinct instilled in her, or can show up to motherhood in a way that is efficient to help her child develop. And although most mothers are just barely doing their best they can, like they're doing the best they can, the narcissistic mother is not doing, actually, she's doing the best she can in terms of hurting you. Whereas your average mother would be doing the best she could in order to kind of help you, feel good and be happy and feel good in your experience as a child. The narcissistic mother is doing the best she can to ruin it. It's almost as if that is her only mission. Now, it is not her only mission, or she doesn't consciously see it as her mission, but this is what she's acting in alignment in, right? She's acting like she hates you, she's your biggest bully, although she thinks she's the best mother in the world. There's a paradox, but the importance of this bond is so significant that it affects everything. Now, the other reason why it is so catastrophic, this whole thing, is not that this woman was just horrible to you once and you had an argument and she said the wrong thing or she hurt you. We are talking about a million or more micro moments. Watching this woman choose emotional violence over empathy, kindness, patience, love, anything else. She chose emotional violence over and over again. So having a narcissistic mother, no matter how perfect she looks on the outside or what other people think she's like as a mother, is an experience that you, the child that had the experience with the mother, may find themselves isolated when it comes to explaining it. So obviously, when you were to share this story with someone, and they know your mother, not as their mother, just as their teacher, or as their friend, or as their aunt, or as whoever, but even in some cases to a sibling as their mother, we're not talking about the same person, and they cannot validate your experience, which means the children of narcissistic mothers, the daughters of narcissistic mothers that I talk to in the channel, are isolated in the experience of their mother because they are so chronically invalidated within that experience and chronically confused that even if they try to share that experience with someone, that someone is not going to believe them. So here you are. I don't know how old you are, but you're definitely not a child if you're watching this video. I don't think we've evolved to realize all these things already when we're like 12. But no matter how old you are, you're still questioning, was it really that bad? Is it all in my mind? Why do I feel this way about my mom? So what I would say as a starting point, and you will hear more things as the videos progress, if you identify with having a mother who was narcissistic, maybe not diagnosable narcissistic, but had narcissistic traits that are essentially the way we raise our kids in a way that is abusive, based on hierarchy and control and lack of empathy. So if you identify with that, if it resonates with you, you can't go to her for validation over these things. But I would just urge you to sit with how it feels to hear these things. And if they resonate, that is your truth, right? You don't need someone to validate your experience. And you also don't need the whole world to agree that your mother was indeed a narcissistic person that damaged you. All that matters at the end of the day is that you become able to validate your own story and your own truth so that you can finally heal. So, if this mother was not your mother, it was just a random stranger that hurt you, they wouldn't be able to get to you as much as she did because your attachment to her was really close and really unshielded. You were very open to be connected to this woman. A woman who, instead of being your first source of emotional safety, a sense of home in this big, scary world, she became your first and more scary and dangerous source of confusion, fear, rejection, and emotional distortion. So basically, your narcissistic mother broke a lot of who you were down. She emotionally annihilated you. And although some people may say she's your mother, as if that's a good thing, and you're like, unfortunately, she's my mother, or they tell you the past is in the past, she did the best she could, the damage is done. Actually, the damage, unfortunately, does not stay in your childhood. It spills into your identity, into your self-worth, into your relationships, which is why we need to be talking about your narcissistic mother, no matter how old you are. Maybe not to random people that are going to tell you dumb stuff and minimize it, but you need to validate all those years of emotional abuse that you went through. Name the violence, process it, so that you can indeed leave the past in the past, because it will no longer haunt you into your adult life, following you around like a ghost that you can't really hide from. Being raised by a narcissistic mother is a devastating and shattering experience. One that you cannot just move on from or forget or forgive unless you process. So that you can indeed leave the past in the past, because it will no longer haunt you in your adult life, following you around like a ghost you can't hide from. But how exactly does the narcissistic mother do all of this damage to her daughter? Let's talk about it in the next video.